Today's video is on word problems with solving systems of equations. 3 steps to do. You have to define your variables, you have to set up and solve your equation, check your work, and then you write your final answer. Let's do number 9. So Marcy bought a total of 20 used books and CDs during the yard sale for a total cost of $54.50. If the books cost $1.50 each and then CDs cost $5 each, we want to find how much of each did she buy. Define your variables. So we're going to have, let's do B be the number of books. And then I'm going to have, let's do C be the number of CDs. Your 2 equations are going to be one with the cost and then one with the amount that she bought. So she bought books and CDs, but the total number of each was the 20 total. The second equation talks about the total cost of money. So the $54.50, so the total cost of money is going to be $1.50 per book plus $5 per CD. So now the hard part's out of the way. Now we just have to solve. And for these word problems, you probably will have some decimals in there, but you can solve using either substitution or elimination. I am going to do elimination for this one. I'm going to multiply the top, let's do by 5. You guys could have done 1.5. You could have also solved using substitution. Just your method of choice. So the top becomes 5b plus 5c equals 100. The bottom stays the same. And I'm going to subtract these. So I'm left with 3.5 b's equals, those cancel, and then 100 minus 54.5, 45.5, and then dividing both sides by 3.5, we get b to equal 13. And then substituting that back in, I'm going to substitute it back into the first one right here. So we get 13 plus c equals 20. CDs is going to be 7. And your final answer could be a sentence saying books, or not books, there were 13 books and 7 CDs. Just to put your answer back in terms of the context of the problem. Let's do another one. One in terms of money. There's also other types of problems that we'll do in class in terms of consecutive numbers and perimeters of rectangles, but we're just going to do 2 now and then go back over in class some others. Okay, so Kent has a collection of pennies and nickels with a value of 198, so pennies and nickels. The number of pennies he has is 5 less than twice the number of nickels. How many of each does Ken have? Let's first define our variables. Let's have P equal the number of pennies, and then N be the number of nickels. Just like the other one, we're going to have 2 equations, one having to do with cost and the other one having to do with how many of the pennies and nickels there are. Let's start with the cost one first. The total value is 198. How do we write as an expression the value of pennies and nickels? You put them in terms of decimals. So 0.01 times the number of pennies, since it's 1 cent for pennies, and then 5 cents for the amount of nickels you have is going to be the total cost of the $1.98. So again, 1 penny times the amount of pennies plus 5 cents times the amount of nickels is going to be 198. The second equation comes from this sentence. The number of pennies is 5 less than, so the amount of pennies is 5 less than the number of twice the number of nickels. You write that like this: twice the nickels minus 5. Whenever you see the word than or from, you're going to switch the order of how that sentence goes. So 5 less than twice the number of nickels. Now that we have our two equations, we can solve using substitution or graphing. This one I'm going to use substitution because I already have an equation solved for a variable. So that's going to go in for p, and I'm going to write that over here. 0.01, instead of p, I'm going to write 2n minus 5 plus 0.05n equals 198. Make sure when you substitute, you should substitute into the other equation. All right, let's simplify, distribute, and solve for n. Distributing here. Then combining like terms. We're going to combine the 0.02n with the 0.05n. And that's going to become 0.07n. And I'm going to add this 0.05 to the other side. So that equals 2.03, I believe. And dividing by 0.07, we get n to be 29. The amount of nickels is 29. Now let's use substitution to substitute that 29 back in. I'm going to plug it into the second one. So I have p equals 2 times 29 minus 5. So the amount of pennies is going to be 58 minus 5, which is 53. And let's write our final answer as a sentence. So there are 29 nickels and 53 pennies. Always check your final answer just to make sure it makes sense. I'm going to check it on the side over here. I'm going to make sure that if I plug in P and I plug in N, it does equal $1.98. So 0.01 times 53 plus 0.05 times 29, that's going to equal to 198. You can see that they do end up equaling each other on both sides, so we know we got the question right. Write down what questions you have on these two word problems. Again, there are a couple other types of word problems we're going to see in class. So let me know and have a great night.